The studio suffered by 8.9 FM. Good morning and welcome to today's edition of the program. Aketi is working. Aketi in Shishe in Yoruba. My name is Dweji Daniels, and joining me on the program this morning is a special advisor to the governor on political matters and a former speaker of Ono State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Victor Labiton. You're welcome on the program.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
And of course, I have the man who is popularly known as Obesere in studios, where he was here last week, and we're still expecting. I learned Comrade Gani Mohammed on the program as well. You're welcome on the program.
Good morning, Ondo State.
Let me start from Right Honorable Victor Labiton. It's a beehive of political activities in Ondo State, especially with a video that surfaced online where the deputy governor was, so to say, purportedly, stopped from leaving the government house by the commissioner of police, and then after that, he resigned from your party, joined the PDP. As a member of the APC, many of your people have asked him to as a question of morality, that he should resign his office. What is your take on all of this development?
Thank you, Dimeji. First, let me say the video that went viral on the night the deputy governor was leaving the government house. Thank God is one of his aides, Showore, came out that some vehicles want to leave the compound, the government house premises, that night. And because the security did not allow them to go, they called on the deputy governor. The deputy governor came in from outside.
So he was not there at the start?
He was not there at the start. That was what his aide said. And when he got there, and he got the same, that vehicle cannot leave with the load inside. He then
what load?
I don't know what they were carrying. I was not there. That they cannot go with the vehicle because it's a government vehicle.
We're talking about the Elox vehicle.
Yes,
because I interviewed.
Please, the Elox
I interviewed Odebo Ali. It was on my program, and I spoke with some people as well who said the Elox vehicle was bought by the deputy governor.
I never know whether Elox vehicle was bought, whether it was bought by the level governor or not. The time of leaving, and if the security say you can't leave until they do some things, I think you have to obey this simple law. He invited the CP. Nobody invited the CP. He was the one that invited the CP.
His aide said that.
Therefore, he cannot rope in the CP. And when he invited the CP acted, okay, it is you can't do this thing at this period. When is the other period you will do it? That settled that one. The second one you are...
Before we move to the second, why I brought up the issue of him owning that vehicle was because my question is, if he owns the vehicle, why would anybody stop him from leaving with the vehicle?
Let me tell you this. Whether he owns the vehicle or not, the time of leaving is very, very important.
Okay.
Please, we have to be very careful. We don't have to be putting some things up, down some things.
What's wrong about the time of moving?
You are a deputy governor. You have been with this government from the beginning, and now things are being moved in the night, and there are rumors all over there that you are going. Please, it's only Akeredolu that anybody can do this to. Nobody can do it to a normal politician. If you do it to a normal politician, you won't get out of it.
What do you mean
because Akeredolu is a liberal man.
What do you mean by that? A normal
politician.
politician.
Please, we know a lot of that has happened. Let me come to that your question about whether somebody has done.
No, you said something. You said you can't do this to a normal politician. I want to know what you mean by that, because I think we did resign in 2007 to contest. I mean, it left the PDP in 2007 to contest on the platform of DAC, and he did not resign as vice president of Nigeria.
Let me tell you this: you can't compare that of Atiku with that of the current deputy governor.
How so?
I will tell you, please allow me to answer some of these questions.
You, but I also have to
please, and yes, you don't interject too much, because we have to put some things on the table for everybody to hear. There is a joint ticket and that ticket is owned by one man. It's not owned by two people. Oh. The ticket is owned by Oluwarotimi Odunayo Akeredolu. It was after he had been chosen through election by his party that he decided, because that's what the constitution says, that you need somebody to vice you. You need somebody to deputize you. He now picks you to now deputize him. And along the line, you now reneged. You now became a saboteur.
What do you mean by saboteur?
Please, you now become...
What do you mean by saboteur? I have to
a saboteur is somebody, you now become disloyal.
What did he do that made him disloyal? Because I've asked you on this same program, and you said that you told me.
Let me tell you.
There were no issues between the two.
If the deputy governor, somebody chose him to be his deputy,
okay,
and he decides to leave that person, then he should leave that office. Please, we see no morality. I'm not here to preach morality. I'm here to preach politics. The issue you are referring to, the issue of the issue of article that you are referring to, as at that time, the National Assembly, it was not possible for Baba to impeach Atiku. Therefore, they just put him, they shoved him aside, and they decided to do what to do. And today, we know the repercussion of what happened then. Please, I want to tell you, my personal view is this, and I'm expressing it openly. Mr. Deputy Governor should go and resign the office of the Deputy Governor.
Right, Honorable Victor.
He has no right to be there again.
Right, Honorable Victor Labinton. You said I interject you. Unfortunately, we're talking to members of the public, and
yes, I know.
Thank God you said your opinion. Our opinion does not always have to agree with law. I mentioned the issue of Atiku, and
the law is clear.
Yes, and what you described in the case of Akeredolu and Agbola sounded too like the case of us.
It is not the same.
Wait.
It's not the same.
I kept quiet when you were talking.
Okay.
So let me pose my question. So when Atiku, just as Agbola, Obasanjo also owned that ticket. He was the president. He had won the party.
And I have told you that it was not possible for him to impeach him. They made the attempt, then they decided to leave him. Don't let us beat that bush again. Let's talk on the one on ground.
Honorable Labinton. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court at the time ruled that he could stay in office. So that's law. So there is a precedent.
If he cannot be impeached.
Okay.
If he cannot be impeached.
So are you saying I will come to you. Are you saying there is a push now from your camp for Agbola's impeachment?
There is nothing that has no solution. Some people are saying impeachment here, impeachment there. When we get to that level, we will cross the bridge. I'm telling you the truth.
You will impeach him.
We will cross the bridge. We will cross the bridge. I have never said we are going to do this thing. Listen, if you have done what nobody has done before, you will get what nobody has gotten before.
Has it done what nobody has done?
Please, about impeachment, whether there are allegations or no allegation, by the time they get to the floor of the house, we will know whether there are allegations. So please, for me,
it is safe.
For me,
it is safe to say.
For me, let me tell you, please.
There's a push for his impeachment.
Please, I am not saying that. Let me put it certainly clear for you.
Okay.
If Agbola refuse to follow the honored path as the special advisor to Mr. Governor
on
politics, I will advise he's shown the red card.
Which is impeachment, right?
Yes.
Okay, you have said.
I will advise Mr. Governor and I have no argument about
some of the impressions you have created with your questions.
I'm not created impressions. One. Okay.
That you said he was moving out a vehicle. Along with the vehicle were other properties.
I asked, what were those properties?
Wait, properties. Now, again, you must query the time and circumstances. And when I mean circumstances, yes, it is guaranteed under Section 40. You have a right to, between Section 35 to 44, you have a right to movement, but as deputy governor, with a joint governor, they pronounced a curfew in this state. That curfew was to ensure that the generality of lives were not put at risk. He has immunity by virtue of Section 308 of Section 2, but that does not cover the people who were intending to move these things out at curfew period. What they did with him was to use his office to compromise a cultural provision. And when you swear an oath that goes against the constitution, it in itself is an impeachable offense. So don't just, when people raise these things, we are coming.
I ask you.
We are coming. You
hello,
see?
hello.
Yeah.
Hello, you're talking, you're raising issues. I also have a right to ask you questions.
Okay, go on.
So I ask you a question. You said there were properties. Members of the public are listening to us. I asked the right honorable Victor Olabiton the same issue. What are these properties?
Listen,
Can
my
you
dear,
put a name to all these properties?
Listen, forget. It does not concern me or concern you. What
You
concerns
mentioned
what concerns me
not there.
and you was that we saw a video.
It concerns
We
members
saw
of the
a
public.
video.
There is video,
The
everybody
impression
saw.
created in the video
Everybody saw video.
was that the governor called the commissioner line number one.
Line number
It
one.
was put in
No,
this
he
video.
said the deputy
My dear brother,
governor
when you ask your
called
question, I
the
keep quiet.
deputy governor.
When you ask your question, I will keep quiet and listen to you.
Okay.
We saw a video together. They claimed that the commissioner of police was instructed by the governor, only to come here and discover
They claim in that video.
in that video.
Well, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, he was there. He was
because
there.
I watched that
Please.
video. I didn't
I
hear
watched that
anything
video.
like
And you can replay it. We have videos here. Then it was discovered later that it was they that put a call through to the commissioner. And what are the circumstances? Look, my dear brother, every house, even a minor house, has security. If you want to move something out, it must not be something that is beneficial to the house. If you want to move something in, it must not be something dangerous to the constituents of that defined environment, which is why you have that security fence acting as a semi-permeable membrane. Therefore, at that point in time, the only way, at that time and circumstances, even when there had been no curfew, but for this there was a curfew, that circumstance alone, if as an ordinary citizen outside there, they catch you outside after 7 on that time, not this new curfew time of 10, you know what you will face. So when somebody who makes that law is brought in to erode and contravene that law, it tells so much of character. And when it beats lies on it, it attests to what dangers it portends for the society.
Let me now pose my question to you, because you keep saying it's like we're going back and forth. You're still on the same issue. You just mentioned again a moment ago that when you're moving something beneficial to a house, outside of a house, or when you're moving something dangerous, and before that, just before that, you said it is neither my concern nor your concern to ask what was being moved out. And I ask you, what are these things? Because when I'm asking for members of the public on this program,
my dear brother,
because you're raising that issue as an excuse.
My dear brother,
What are being moved out?
Wait, let's get something correct here.
I'm listening.
The first thing you need to get correct is, was there a curfew? During a curfew, is there supposed to be movement?
Before
No,
okay.
get it, please.
Keep going.
Get it, please, sir.
We're not fighting
Was
here.
there supposed to be a movement?
Hello, Obesere. Let me say this to you.
I'm not fighting
and let me
you,
say
sir.
to right on Victor Olabiton, you are responding to questions, and I have a right as the moderator of this show
As
to
a
ask you
moderator,
questions.
you have a right not to mislead the people.
So I'm not misleading
you are misleading the people,
Yeah, I'm not,
you are beginning to
you're
raise
raising
questions
issue.
out of
You're
context.
raising issue, and I have a right to ask you questions, and you must answer them. So go ahead.
Good. Like I said, the question of a curfew is about movement. In as much as you have a right to movement, it must not contravene the law or put the generality in danger. So when that same government issues a curfew, we know that Section 308 gives certain categories of people immunity. Who are these categories of people in that period? The president, the vice president, the governor, governors, and the deputy governor.
Okay.
And the security personnel who are to see to the effecting of the curfew. You get me? Not necessarily mention Section 308. But when ordinary citizens like me and you decide to move something out, this movement did not start as at the time of stopping them with the presence of His Excellency, the Deputy Governor. He was not there. Get it?
Now,
it was when they were explained to that you cannot move.
Are you done? Are you done, Mr. Officer? Now, okay, you're not.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. What you're
It
doing now,
was when it was explained to them that you cannot take that step outside with this material.
And they called the deputy governor.
You get me? That they discovered that even the police that escorted them could not look at the other police here, that they brought in the deputy governor.
Okay.
So that there's no conflict of two policemen serving different interests. He called the commissioner of police.
They have admitted that.
You get me? Before the admittance, a misimpression was sent into town.
And you're corrected that now.
You get me?
Now, the question I asked Right Honorable Victor Labiton was that, apart from the property, which you have not been able to mention anyway, now, I asked him that we've had, and I've had officials of government on my program, not this program, who admitted as well that, okay, the deputy governor owns this vehicle. So if he owns the vehicle, if it's a matter of the property, why not take away the property and let him move his vehicle out? Because even that night, that vehicle was not allowed to be taken out of the government house. And we learned that days after that the vehicle was still in the government house.
God bless you, Dimeji. I have just informed you that the time of that movement was in contravention of a federal and a state pronouncement, a curfew.
For the deputy,
a curfew.
For the deputy governor.
Wait, you were here now. I said before they called him the deputy governor. The people wanted to move out. Please wait.
When the deputy governor arrived, that's what I'm talking about now.
As at the time the deputy governor arrived, the deputy governor arrived to come and display his immunity and his capacity. One, the deputy governor can move and the curfew will not prosecute him.
With his vehicle that he bought with his money.
Listen, if let's buys it with his money.
Bought with money.
If you like,
are you
buy
working for him?
something with your money. You get me? If it is not in your house,
right,
the rules. Hello, sir.
I work.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
sir. Hello, sir.
And I'm not a
If you live in a house,
Then
you get me? The rules of that house supersedes your personal rights.
Okay.
To a large extent. If you don't like it, you go to the judiciary. You get me? And the person in charge of a government house will give a directive to whoever he makes a chief security officer to secure that defined environment. If however he looks at the deputy governor and said, no, I refuse, call my oga, the deputy governor simply reaches the governor and says, I'm having this problem. So why didn't he reach his governor? He had not yet decamped. He was still in the APC at that period.
Now, before that period, we've asked questions, even including Right Honorable Victor Labiton here. I've asked him questions on the same issue, that whether there was an issue, misunderstanding between the governor and the deputy governor and people in your camp. Let me put it that way. Before now, I'd always denied that there were no issues until that video came out, until it came out that Agbola was defecting to
the governor.
Let me pose my question. That Agbola was defecting to the PDP. Now my question is, he said something. He said Agbola should resign. And I've asked him whether, because Agbola also made the allegation that there were people in your camp pushing for his impeachment at the House of Assembly. Now, when people in your camp say Agbola should resign, are you talking morality or you're talking law?
I'm talking law, I'm talking morality.
Okay, let's enlighten me.
I will start with the moral part before I go to the law. The moral part is, let me pictorially get it like this. You have a wife, you married her legally.
That's the moral part.
That's the moral part. Okay. You married her legally. You didn't marry her by just cultural beliefs. Now, this wife now decides to become pregnant for somebody else, and which she has admitted. And while the case was probably still going on, when she had packed out of your house, you pass on. You see, by law, that woman has a claim to your estate.
Yeah, but then the question since we are not divorced.
Then the question is, will your family, will she have the temerity, unless she carries policemen to come, and that family allow that kind of thing to happen? Even if the husband does not divorce her, then the family should take the appropriate step. That somebody who has gone to put crops in another farm must know where to harvest from. When you now bring it to the point of the law, because I've been hearing you say Atiku, the key thing that the judgment in Atiku said, that does not relate to Agbola's current situation. Because if somebody has not got to question something before, you cannot put generic circumstance on it. And I read from this, in the judgment of the AG Federation versus Atiku Abubakar, there is a section that says that the NEC or INEC, or as the name may suggest, has not recognized the party. In the instant case, it has not been shown by credible evidence that the party said to have been formed by the first order to which is to have defected. That party was not yet formed. It was also put here, Action Congress. Where this person has gone is the PDP. The ACs at the time they were fighting then had not been given even clearance to participate in the election. So don't compare.
No, let me ask you. Hello.
That's number one. Wait, are you asking the law? Let us finish.
Let me ask.
No, let us finish.
Now let me ask
you. You asked for the law. Please.
Hello.
Wait. This is the problem I have.
Hello, please. I'm the moderator of this show. So
then
I will ask my questions when we
flow.
My questions. I will let you flow. But I have a question to ask
relevant section.
Now you mentioned morality. I will let you get back to it.
I'm coming back there.
You will get back to it. You mentioned morality. Yeah. Unfortunately, morality does not always agree with law. You know that. Now, my question to you is that I want you to point out any part of the Nigerian Constitution where it says that the deputy governor cannot defect to another party. Please mention it. I want
Section
you to
45 subsection
I want you to point it out.
Section 45 subsection 1A.
Okay, please read it.
But again, it says nothing in sections 37, 38, 39, 40, and 41 of this constitution shall invalidate any law that is reasonably justifiable in a democratic society. Reasonably justifiable. A. In the interest of defense, public safety, public order, public morality, or public health. I hope you have gotten that particular part.
Please, what does it say about impeachment?
Public morality.
We're talking about defense now. Okay.
You get me? When you ask these questions.
Okay, I'm listening.
The key thing here, look at the sections read out here. Nothing in section 37, 38, 39, 40. All I've been hearing people say that he has the right of freedom of association. Don't also forget one thing. Please, when you talk law, it is what goes to court and is ruled upon, unchallenged, that becomes an authority to be cited in future. Like Honorable Labito rightly said, tẹ́lẹ̀ kan bá ṣe ohun tójú òrírí, ó di dandan kójú òun náà rí, ohun táyé gan ò gbọ́ rí. If something looks novel and we are challenging it, then we know what argument to take on it. Now as to the party, this is not the governor. The governor believes that.
Before we get to the party, before we get to the party, so that we don't mislead members of the public, the section you just quoted now has to do with restriction and derogation from fundamental right. I ask you to point out a section in this constitution that talk about the defection of a deputy governor. You have not shown me that. Please.
I will also say this to you. The deputy governor, because our laptop consists,
I'll come to you right on.
The deputy governor is somebody who is a product of grace of the governor. I've never seen primary for deputy governor before. I don't know where you have seen it. So when he comes on board, and then he's very like I painted the picture of that pregnant woman that went to stay in another place.
Which is morality.
Pure morality, because when you are looking at it, by the time she became pregnant and was going to deliver for the other man in the next room, you already know that it was God that saved the original husband. And you know what could have happened? If anything happened to the original husband while she became pregnant for that person in that same yard, you know what will happen in that instance. The constitution does not just go stricto sensu and look at you. I have read it out. It is not, again, the job of the governor. The governor has taken a simple attitude that but it is the danger in that lacuna that the party, and that's where the experience of people like Olabinto and Co. are coming in to play here. Now to tell me that one person, what God forbid, because we have not seen this scenario, all of us have been shouting about this 1999 constitution and so many of its default that have been corrected because people had had the audacity to challenge it. Yes, to look at that constitution. That constitution you are carrying is not just 1999 constitution. Yeah. If you look under it, something is written as amended 2011, and there will still be continuous amendments and improvements on it. It is because nobody has had the guts to follow the legal way to deal with a deputy governor who defects. You get me? We knew what happened with Bokna Akerele. We knew what happened with Ghanaian deputy.
Now I understand.
We knew what happened with Baba Adeola State.
I understand you, Mr. Abesere. You talked morality, you talk politics. Thank God you talked about amending the constitution, but that constitution is yet to be amended. That was the question. Thank God, right on Victor Labiton. I'm turning to him now.
Concluded
you've been a lawmaker at the state level. Not just an ordinary lawmaker. You were a speaker. And, I've gone through this constitution. The constitution makes provision for when lawmakers defect, except when there are crises
crisis within their party, when lawmakers defect, they are they are to lose their seat. But I did not, and I do not see anywhere in this constitution that talks about the defection of a deputy governor. That's why I said, in talking law, we should not mislead members of the public, because I have a recent constitution as well before me here. Right on, Brother Abiton.
Thank you, Dimeji. Let me start from the onset again and let you understand what is happening. And our people at home. The constitution could not have envisaged what is happening now.
Okay.
Because there is only one ticket.
Well, basically, I said the same thing. So we are talking
And
about
because because it is one ticket, one would not have expected that somebody you went and pick up and say, come and be my deputy, will now become disloyal to the extent of leaving the ticket that the two of you jointly owned to now go be seeking ticket in another party. If constitution envisages all this, they will have put in certain things there. And remember, this constitution is in the working, and it continue to be in the working.
The constitution of every
country in the world. Therefore, people are noticing some of all these things, and I'm sure in the next amendment in the National Assembly, some of these things will come up. That if you are a deputy governor, if you resign from your party, you must resign your seat. Go and read it. That is what they are going to put there. Because that is the act of disloyalty that anybody can display to his boss. That action, listen to me, that action in the military, it is called treason.
Treasonable felony.
It's a treasonable.
In politics, it's not called that.
I say in the military.
I'm just saying so.
And in politics, we say it is the greatest height of disloyalty. That is what we call it in politics. And for me, if you think you are man enough, you are a man of yourself. You control yourself. Not this deceive attitude that you make up all over the place and you are deceiving people. And people don't know that you are deceiving them. You deceive people and people say, he's a good man. Whereas this is a man who is deceiving everybody all over the place. You are not going. You are not going. You are not going. I knew what we did.
Okay.
I knew what we did. I knew how Agboola became deputy governor.
Okay.
I knew what we did when we saw that things were not working fine.
Okay.
We brought in all the Obas from Akpoi land to intervene. They did. The governor agreed. He said we should continue to work together again. He reneged.
The deputy governor?
Yes.
Okay.
I brought in Akeredolu's friends from Ibadan. His friends, led by Adigun. We had a meeting with the deputy governor in Ibadan. We brought the meeting here. We met with the governor. And at the end of the day, we agree. Onírọ́nà pamọ́ òun ò lọ́bì kankan, wọ́n ṣe kinní ní gbogbo nǹkan ti wà okay. Àwọn ti jọ ń ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀.
That's the deputy governor.
That is the deputy governor.
Okay.
When that did not this thing, Fayemi came in.
I heard that too.
The governor of Ekiti State. I was there. Fayemi was there. The chairman of the party was there. The governor himself was there. And after here and there, he denied. He said he's not going anywhere. He said they are only deceiving and this and that and everything. He said they should give him an assignment. He will perform. Nothing. That is not going anywhere. To the extent that Fayemi prostrated for him. It's as bad as that. Who is he? We left that. Alasho Adura came in with Dr. Tunji Abayomi. They talked to him. What does he want? This to me is over ambition. And it will be killed by the grace of God.
Right.
Unless Akeredolu is not truthful to this man. If Akeredolu has been truthful, very honest with him, gave him all the powers that no deputy governor had ever used in this state, and he now used those powers to be undermining his boss. And even when they were telling his boss, his boss never believed.
So I think he undermined the governor in several ways.
Several ways. And even when they were telling me, because of my closeness to him, I said no, that they are lying against him.
Let me ask you a question, right, Honorable Abiton.
Now,
you said just a minute. You said he undermined the governor, but from their own camp, from Agbola's camp, what we keep hearing was that he was mistreated.
He was not
in so
okay.
many ways
Okay,
by the governor.
okay, I will tell you. When we came in, the whole machinery of governance was given to Agbola Ajayi. Let him come here and deny it.
So why did you say?
Let me tell you, I'm coming. They gave him all the machinery. All these members of the House of Assembly you are talking about today, he decides who goes to the house and those who don't go to the house. When people were telling governor that, governor, what you are doing is dangerous. Hey, the repercussion will be too much for you to bear. Hey, no. Ìkànnì wa, ticket ìkànnì, ẹjọ́ máa ṣe o, gbogbo nǹkan tó bá ti ṣe, mo endorse here, kò sí wàhálà, we are the same ticket o, ẹ má dá wàhálà láàrin mi àtàgbo, ẹjọ́, ẹ fi wálẹ̀. Unknown to the man that Agbo was building an empire for himself.
I love my wife.
He was building an empire for himself. He is the only deputy governor that appoints all his aides without the governor putting input into it. When he came in, we know what was being paid to the office of the deputy governor. Akeredolu increased it by 250%.
Is it true that he also took contract? That he sought that as well?
Let me tell you. I will tell you what I know.
Okay.
And I will tell you what I know, what I can defend.
Okay.
What I cannot defend, I will not tell you. If they say contract, those who are in charge of contract, who knows how contract was done? Because I'm not in charge of contract. I don't do contract. I didn't do one, and I have not done one in this government. Therefore, I'm okay. I'm as free as air. And I don't interfere when they are talking contract here, contract there. I'm not interested. My interest is good governance, Akeredolu doing well, and doing second term. That's my business.
Let's not.
Every other thing, yes. Every other thing, that is easy. And I'm not part of the inner cabinet. He and his boss were the inner cabinet, doing everything. Now you maximize all this. You now use it against your boss. And you think there is no law. And you think there is no God. And you think that God will not intervene. My brother, God will intervene. God will intervene and intervene heavily. Heavily. We have to let the people at home know
let me turn to
that we must not encourage disloyalty.
Let me turn.
Therefore, for me, and I repeat, and I say it again, if he doesn't take the honorable way out, I will advise Mr. Governor. Repeat, I will advise Mr. Governor to do the needful.
Okay, I'll come back and ask you what's the needful. Let me turn to Obesere. Now, we've had several allegations. Like I asked right now, Victor Labiton, one of the things being said that we've had from Agbola's camp, even right before now, we've been asking these questions from people in the government, whether there were issues, like I said, they had always denied it before now. Now, the allegation that has always come out from Agbola's camp was that it was being maltreated. By the governor, by people in the governor's close circle. And now, right Honorable just said, he undermined the governor in several ways. Now, these are two counter allegations. Why do you think Agbola would say it was maltreated? Or people in this camp would say the deputy governor was maltreated?
Their expectations.
What were these expectations?
No, they had their expectations. When you expected that your character will be the same as that of your governor, who will not care about accountability, equity, transparency, then you get disillusioned. When you go and promise people more than you think you can access and give, when then the little that is even given to you to be able to distribute, you get me, the main people who are supposed to collect it are beginning to complain. It should become abnormal to you when you are pouring water on your head and there is none on your belly, but a few trickle are landing on your feet. One must watch what you are carrying on your head that is soaking majority of the water. So if for any reason And I keep on telling you, if somebody has a character that he thinks that he was mistreated, having been graced with the privilege out of many to be deputy governor, what you should have simply done is just divorce. If your husband is maltreating you,
just like you,
divorce him.
Okay.
Instead of going to get pregnant for his neighbor. You know what that one will cause? It is against public morality. Two, it will cause public fiasco.
Okay.
The governor may not talk, but the governor is not the APC. Because what we are witnessing now, God forbid, we may not have seen it physically, but we can think it. God forbid, may the Lord protect His Excellency and all our elder citizens in this state who are currently tested positive to this virus.
How is he doing, by the way?
He's going to be fine. He's always in high spirit.
The governor is fine.
He's in high spirit.
I tell you the truth.
He's in high spirit.
He's
You
good.
get me? And he's taking all
And good to
measures
go.
as it is. But let me tell you this. Would you not tell me that the APC mandate will go and sit in the PDP? There will be a constitutional fiasco. When somebody has been threatening violence that what happened in 1983, he knew what he was planning. But when man proposes, God disposes. And that is why God will send angels to intervene where men cannot reach. And then we also raise men. We don't need multitude in the case of Gideon. And where the answers must be given, it will be answered and delivered. So basically, before I started studying law in Elizabeth University, I used to argue like you argue. The law.
I'm asking questions.
I'm
only asking questions.
As you ask questions, I used to put it like that. But let me say this. Honorable Abinton said it was disloyalty. Where proven it is treason. Then we go look through the Criminal Code Act and the Constitution. It does not say where you go against the vice president or the deputy governor. Treason says where you go against the governor or the president. That step in itself was an act of undermining the governor and the government. The act of carrying one police officer which is working for you against police officers attached to government house, causing disaffection itself, is a primary element, ingredient for treason.
Basically, just a moment. You know why when you say things, you know why I keep asking you questions, and you keep throwing around all these things about law, the criminal code. I've read that as well. You just mentioned treason. I know what treason is. I've also read the law, what you're quoting on treason, and it is different with what is happening. When you say he has gone against the governor, under that law never mentioned defection, and because I've read it, if I knew you would bring it up, I would have brought my laptop in and code that section to you as well.
Dear brother, I've been talking to you without my laptop. It's in my head.
It's in my head as well, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
No, you said you had one who spoke about your laptop.
Yes.
You may bring professional, bring everything, but let me say before
when we code law, don't let us moderate.
Before I started speaking, I laid certain templates for you. You get me? One, if you don't carry a case to a police station, there is no case that will be judged in a court. If there is no case that is judged in a court, there is nothing you want to refer to as an authority.
As an antecedent.
You get me? That we have seen it in other cases. That we have seen it in other cases. And that we applied and it's written in the criminal code and in the constitution, where I listed it to you as an element or ingredient. You get me? And I cited two examples. When they required him to come from Ijapo or Alagbaka or wherever, or Kiribo, to come and intervene in getting his policemen to confront government house policemen, then go and look at the ingredients of treason, causing disaffection.
That's what I've said. I've read that law.
When I read that, whether it is treason, Timeji,
okay,
depends on whether
but
now.
Treason is a strong
wait
word.
Now, what is strong there? What is what between me and you? Are you the one committing the offense? I'm not the one committing the offense now.
Oh, basically.
My dear brother, until and unless the governor decides in his capacity as governor and chief executive officer who is infringed upon to take action, it becomes normal behavior. You get me? Your child went into your pot of soup, he's stealing it, and he says, "Please, your pot of soup." It is normal action. When he goes to Mama Dupe's son the next yard, you will know what will happen, because whether it is normal action.
Okay, let me ask
like
you.
I said, until action is taken,
let me ask you this.
It looks normal.
Let me ask you. So, just like right now, Victor Labison, are you also of the view that he should be impeached?
My dear brother, will you allow a wife who is still legal married to a brother and pregnant for another person to stay in the house?
I want a yes or no answer.
Would you allow it?
I want a yes or no answer.
You get me? He must go.
Okay.
There's no look. God forbid. I keep on saying God forbid. And when people control this situation and say something, it's different from what happened in Edo. In Edo, a man and his wife can say that his family's problem is too much and try to leave his family. You get me? The two of them have gone. The family does not worry. Where he's going to, they can receive him. But for the wife to become pregnant for the next village, when the husband is still alive here and is still legally married, it will cause war between two villages. And the constitution has already told you in section 45 of section 1 that whatever action you are taking that may lead to public disaffection part of against public morality, yeah, it takes away your right of association.
Obviously, let me say it is amusing how you interpret law, because we also
somebody has to interpret it. You get another opposing lawyer.
It's also,
and we stand before it.
It's also, I'm not a lawyer, but I read the law too. And I know what the law says. So I may not be a lawyer.
You're a journalist.
I may not be, but as a journalist,
you ask questions.
Yes, I ask questions.
That's very
and I familiarize myself with all these.
The same difference between a doctor and a lagbo. You know that.
All these laws you're quoting as well.
Now,
going forward. Now, going forward, unfortunately, journalists know something about everything. Now, going forward, if you know you're on here as a journalist, now going forward, many people in your party, many of the aspirants on the platform of your party, up until this morning, keep pushing for direct primaries. I read a statement from Molushola, saying that the only way the primaries could be transparent will be that if it is conducted, if it is direct primaries. What is your take on that, Obesere?
One, people went to AD and came back to the party after people have been made delegates. Cannot guide what they know their capacity when it comes to that. So when people speak, you must know where they are coming from. If they do it direct, by the time they arrive back in the party as prodigal children, you know one thing about prodigal children that people don't know. You will feast them when they come back. It does not mean you give them the entire property of the father. You get me? Whichever way they want, whether direct or indirect, His Excellency is ready. We are prepared. They are the ones making all this noise. I think not the group of people wanted to make a dead body acting chairman for their self-serving purposes. Nigeria has been able to go beyond all of them, and God has gone beyond them. So leave all those people and what they are asking for. They have a right within the party. Once they lose by direct primary, they will still have something to say. You get me? But be that as it may, I want to urge you now. Those that are going to partake in the direct primaries, the governor is not a dullard. Let's say political, of course you have read this curriculum vitae. Politics is local. There is no way you get to Shukpari Akoko today and you ask after him and what his capacity is. And idea of people behind the governor, let them bring their men. People who have attempted to do what Moses did many times, and eventually by the time they go to Jericho, they have a motley crowd. And not the kind of people who are expected to see Canaan. You don't worry. Jethro, the son of Nun, is still on the seat. And he is going to
get there. Would you like to have a take at the same question?
Thank you, Dimeji. I'll dare say political to Mr. Governor. Whichever way it goes, we are ready. You see, when you talk about direct primary, those who are going to vote are party members. They are not from the moon. Nobody is going to import them from anywhere. With what Akeredolu has done, and with the tentacles we had, and with all we have spread all over the place, they should forget any direct primary here is not going to be manipulated. It's going to be direct, fair, credible primary. And everybody will see the searchlight will be everywhere. Every ward, there will be voting. People will queue. They will vote. They will count. And they will record. When that happens, Akeredolu will win.
Let's not. Let's not do that.
For direct primary, we are good to go. For indirect primary, we are good to go.
Now,
whichever won the party
register. People have expressed, issues with the party register that
the party that wants to do it, they will know how to handle the issue of party register.
Okay.
Because if you want to do direct primary, you will come out with the registered party members. It will be given to everybody, all the candidates and the party, and it will be displayed. People will know whose name are on the list. And
this register is foolproof. It's foolproof.
It is human.
It is human. The register is made by human beings. To me, it will be 90%. Once it is 90% foolproof, we are good to go. No problem. Please, and let me tell you something. We have a National Caretaker Committee at the SADU now. They have raised up a reconciliation team.
Yes.
Let's see how far the reconciliation team goes. Is it this primary that everybody is doing this, doing that? For me, I don't have any fear about primary. No fear at all. I am as strong as the rock of Gibraltar as far as primary is concerned. We are good to go.
Okay.
Whatever they do, all I will advise is that this is our party. Continuity is very, very important here for APC.
Okay.
For not mention anybody, for APC.
It is still campaign because
Okay. Therefore,
also
all those who are campaigning who wants to be governor,
right, Honorable.
they should do it with decorum.
Okay.
There should be no abusive language.
Decency.
There should be decency. There should be fairness in what you do. Don't condemn anybody, because the person you are condemning, you might need him tomorrow too. Because at the end of this primary, one person will again emerge. And if that person emerge, your others should rally around and make sure that the continuity, APC, continue in Ondo State. Therefore, my appeal is that we should not take it as a matter
Don't let's talk about APC continuing, please.
We should not take it about a matter of life and death.
Okay.
It's simple. It's just a contest among brothers. It's a contest among brothers. And I expected, and I repeat, I expected all the candidates to have come in and condemned what the deputy governor has done.
The aspirants, you meant to say.
The aspirants. I expected them to have come out openly and condemn, because these are parties.
Okay, now let me ask you one issue that there are so many aspirants coming from the governor's domain, or many of these aspirants, and so I've read from some of them saying that people from your camp are sponsoring people against them to attack their supporters. Is there any truth to that?
Blatant lies. And I will tell you how it's blatant lies. They reported the matter to the SSS. The director SSS invited some of our people from Owo, invited the PDP, and invited those who sent in the allegation. As the director of SS, they did not show up. They are the ones fomenting trouble. Please, we know where it is coming from. We know what is happening. We are allowing the law to take its normal course. There are so many aspirants in Owo in 2016. Abi? Even those who have obtained form now, they are not up to those who obtained form in 2016. And we knew what happened. Therefore, my brother, don't be afraid.
Let me quickly say something about that thing.
Okay.
For those of us who are not from Owo, we had the opportunity of reading their press statement.
You are from Ondo South?
I am from Ilaje.
Okay.
And when I read their press statement, I found something funny there. In the allegation, they claimed that Akeredolu brought the police to come and attack them, including the DPO. But that what happened again was that the so-called attempt was thwarted by police again. A lot of confusion. You get me? When you try to overcook stories, you end up spoiling your stew with so many ingredients. It's not worth it. If you know what to cook, only salt is enough for the family. But when you want to garnish it, it's because you want to hide something. And if you see the larger people, they can't say that they've had crisis with Akeredolu, Odimayo, and co. Tomorrow in Ilaje will be there for the last funeral rites of the DG campaign of the Odimayo campaign. We are one big family in that regard. But then, it is an ant that we want to try and irritate an elephant for it to shake its leg so that it can be seen. It's not a big deal for us.
Now, let me ask you. Thank God you're from Ondo South. One of the things that we've had, in the public domain is that Akeredolu has marginalized your area. Is there any truth to that?
Marginalized?
Your area, Ondo South?
No. Akeredolu came in 2016. Osobadek has been in that area since 2001. The roads that are missing cannot be Akeredolu's problem. There's the concept of money now on the Ogbowoye road. That's not Akeredolu's problem. The question of how did the road get to Arome and then he didn't get to Owoye. I started since Agagu days. That's not an Akeredolu problem. You get me? We shouted Osustek under Mimiko that it not do it today. People went out Osustek and look at the remarkable turnaround in that ambience. The Abutatichara road that previous governments before him just awarded. Work is ongoing. There was a spur that would go to my own village direct that had not been put in the original map. It has just been infected and put in now. And they are working there. But the thing about the Akeredolu administration is that he does things equitably. He raises money. Once he gets money, he makes sure that these projects are distributed equitably. If the money is enough for constituency, it goes to 26 constituencies. If it's enough for federal district, it goes to 9. If it is for senatorial, he makes sure that the priority is for one major one in each senatorial constituency. And I'm sure many of the people who have claimed that a governor did this, they know that most of the achievements they can point to for these governments did not come in the first term. That my roads were originally built in Ilaje were done when our late mentor was in 2005. Was in his 5th year.
The later government.
Yes, that Governor Mimiko, the immediate past excellency of this state, most of the things that was, even the road to Maeda he redid, was done, and the water works was done in the second term. But that this one has been able to start something. If you don't give an opportunity, you will not see the full. Look, no foundation is beautiful. It is the completed house that people clap for. And I think it's only fair enough to allow him. He has got the foundation. I'm not saying you should come.
I know where you're going. Let's not go there.
Okay, you have to go.
We will decide to go there from July the 13th. Don't put us in trouble. It's a lot of money from NBC. Right, Honorable Labiton, before we go, our time is fast, man. What is your advice now to the caretaker committee, the National Caretaker Committee of the APC, especially regarding the conduct of the Ondo State primaries, governorship primaries?
I think my advice to the National Caretaker Committee, who are men and women of integrity, but they have been proven. Remember, it's chaired by a sitting governor who happened to be the former National Secretary of this same big party. He has the experience, he has the knowledge, he has the reach, he has the vast knowledge. I am sure they are going to do a good work. And they have started. They have started on a good note. All the insinuations that people are bringing in here and there, they have debunked those insinuations. And they have said they are there to make sure that they put APC in the right perspective. Lay another solid foundation for the party. So that, and they have said that everybody will participate. Not that some people will just sit down and take decision. No. This time around, everybody will participate. When they were accusing this about our national leader, they say no, our national leader is revered. Jagaban is revered. He is our man. He is the leader of the party. He has invested so much. He has done so much. He has raised so many people. Therefore, they can never look down upon him. And therefore, the Caretaker Committee has decided that they are going to see him in Lagos. That tells you they are moving in the right direction. And then they say they will consult all appropriate quarters to tap from their wealth of experience before they now come out with what is good. They came in, they set up a reconciliation committee for Ondo and Edo. Nobody has gone against the reconciliation committee. And I know something positive will come. Okay. I think they are doing well, and I want them to keep on doing what they are doing. We must, the progressive politics that we required must be properly entrenched.
Okay.
Well, we don't want a situation where some people who are called capitalists will come and hide under the gap of progressivism and come and do havoc. Some have done it, and that is why we are still sorting out now. If we have put a core progressive will never be disloyal to the boss.
Okay.
That is the truth.
Well, is there anything you would like to add before we go? Our time is fast spent.
Well, the key thing I keep on saying it, for the avoidance and the maintenance of public morality, which the Constitution recognizes, anybody conducting an immoral act should take the honorable way out unless he wants us to kick him out, which is what will be. It's not the opinion of the governor, it's the opinion of the party, and something the party will take seriously and act on soon.
Thank you very much, Professor, for coming on to this edition of Market is Working. Right Honorable Victor Lavito, Special Advisor to the Governor of Political Matters, and of course, former Speaker of Ondo State House of Assembly. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much, viewers at home, for listening to us. We are grateful for your support.
Thank you very much, my name is Dimeji Daniels, and this is where we draw the curtain on today's edition of the program. Thank you very much for listening.